Hello, my astrology family. This is Lada from astrolada.com. Today I'm here with my beloved friends Elena Bensonov and Alejandro Ferradas. You met them last time when we did vibrational revelations, and today they're gonna knock your socks off with the revelations that they have prepared for us. Hello, Elena and Alejandro.
Hello,
Hi,
hello.
hi, dear. I was sharing with Alejandro before, and I think with you as well. We are charting through some really unknown, unexplored territories. I would say that we're, in a way, all three of us today are
Mhm.
going to be galactic explorers. And I would say I invite people to be open-minded and open-hearted, because this is absolutely new information for all of us, and especially because we're not at all attached, we're not familiar really with astrology, as you know. A couple of months ago we did an episode with Sasha Stone where he gave us a list of all the planets and zodiac signs to read, and we read the frequencies of them, and the only thing that was happening in my mind was like, where's Lada? We need Lada, because we have no idea. We know what the frequencies mean, but we, of course, we're so excited to share this information with you and to help us make sense of it all.
Mhm.
So I think today will be very
For
interesting.
me as well, because it's even for me, I've been pouring over those numbers that you gave me, and trying to make the connections and understand why some vibrate higher, some lower. And I just want to mention that Elena and Alejandro are using scalar wave technology to measure. Yes,
Mhm.
it's on
Yes.
quantum basis, something like that.
Mhm.
Yes.
Where these are very Aquarian tools, futuristic tools they're using. And I gave them a list of positions: Sun in signs, Moon in signs, Venus and Mars in signs. I don't know if we can cover all of them, but they will give us the measurements now, and we're going to try and make sense of them. Can you, Elena or Alejandro, explain us? You measure at what frequency? You measure, the measurements are from 1 to 1,000. Can you give us a little bit of insight about that? And
Of course.
consciousness, levels of consciousness, yes?
Yes, we're using the scale of consciousness. And the scale of consciousness, of course, applies to the human experience, because as all of us, we experience the beauty of feeling different emotions while we're here on this planet. 1,000 being a fully integrated experience. And of course, as you know, in some of our episodes, we've explored in the past avatars, what we call avatars, fully integrated beings at a frequency of 1,000. And then, of course, throughout other episodes, we've explored characters, very famous historic figures, poets, writers, right, who have these frequencies of 1,000 coming through, like Leonardo da Vinci in creativity. So we all have this absolute ability to expand our light if this is the choice that you're making. The frequencies go from 0 to 1,000. So anything below 200 has to do with the illusion, and we say it's an illusion of separation from your inner self due to unprocessed emotions, trauma that has occurred in your life. 200 being the gateway, the frequency of courage, because it takes courage to walk through that frequency of 200, to make yourself recognize and become aware that you are part of everything else. And again, keep in mind that below 200 truly is an illusion, because we're all connected. And all the frequencies that we reveal also reside in each and every one of us. We are part of one another. So that means the 1,000, the divine frequency that flowed through the avatars, is also part of who we are. If you're feeling anger, fear, grief, this is as much in ourselves as it is in those that are around us. So just become aware of it. And from reading the frequencies, I think for the show that we're going to explore with you today, we're starting to understand in many ways, of course, I can't wait to hear what you have to say, that a lot of these zodiac signs are linked to personality cells and different karmic, I would say, lessons that each and every one of us is here to explore, to overcome, and to learn from.
It's fascinating. We'll see how it unfolds. And basically, you'll be giving the numbers and the feeling that corresponds, or the state of consciousness to this number. Maybe we can start with the planets. You've measured the planets of the solar system. And you can, I don't know how, do you want to first enumerate them and then?
Yeah. Yeah, let's do the planets first.
Okay, perfect.
So we measured the planets. So we measured the moon. Moon's vibrational frequency is 55, which is the frequency of apathy.
Wow.
Of course.
I can talk about that, or I can talk after that.
Yes,
Yes,
of course.
please,
So
please.
moon is connected in astrology with the past, first of all, and with the past patterns. And it can have, in the astrology, it corresponds to, even in the card of tarot, the card of the moon is indicated by a howling dog, and the moon, there is connected to fear and to kind of the past negative habits that we have to overcome. But of course, the moon also represents beautiful things in astrology, like the mother and nurturing. And it's interesting that it will vibrate. So I guess as a body vibrates so lowly, but in the esoteric, in esoteric sources, they say that the moon used to be part of the earth, and then it basically took out the negative energy and separated from, they were basically collected the more denser matter, and the earth expelled it millions of years or billions of years ago, according to esoteric seers, let's say researchers. And it expelled the moon's body. It's like almost like a shell, like a harder, denser material from the earth, together with entities with lower vibration that the earth's vibration could not tolerate anymore. So there might be something about that there. So,
very interesting, because the frequency, vibrational frequency of the earth itself is 700, which is the frequency of enlightenment. So we are currently living on this beautiful, sentient, enlightened planet. So it's very interesting that in ancient texts, there is reference to the moon being expelled by the earth.
yeah, yeah.
And the 55 is the apathy frequency.
Ah, wow, it's like the kicked out life. But the moon feels, where we have it in the horoscope, we're very sensitive there. It's and we're very, let's say, we can get easily offended and defensive. We can become quite closed off and defensive because the moon is so sensitive, whatever it is. Yes.
So maybe
It has to do with apathy.
Yes.
Emotionally disconnected, you know?
Okay, that's the vibration of emotional disconnect.
Yes.
Wow.
So
Okay.
we don't feel.
Yeah.
Yes. So we don't feel that emotion, right? And we create this shield of protection in order to avoid repeating that
That's why we're
experience.
most protective, whatever the moon is in the horoscope. Because we don't want others to see it, because we feel vulnerable there a lot.
So that would make sense then.
And then in order to avoid it, we tend sometimes to manipulate the environment.
Oh,
right?
yeah. The moon can be very manipulative. That's definitely, even in astrology. So that's a vibration 50 of manipulation and defensive and shielding yourself, closing yourself off, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So at the same time, then depending on what planets are positioned there or zodiac signs are positioned there, it's an invitation to heal different aspects and open up, right? Overcoming that apathy and feeling safe.
Being comfortable, being actually feeling comfortable by being vulnerable, right?
Yes, that's the biggest lesson for the moon. So you can learn to feel comfortable there, not so defensive, and feeling yeah, exactly. To feel comfortable in your vulnerability. Absolutely.
Yes, perfect. Yes.
Yes.
So,
all right.
Okay.
Mars vibrates at 210, which is the level of courage.
Makes absolute sense. Mars rules courage.
Amazing.
Mars rules the push, the force that allows you, after you get angry, to change things and to make something different, to fix things. And that's exactly as you said, the vibration 200, you need a lot of energy to move beyond the 200 vibration. And Mars is that vibration of courage, that push.
Is it in any way related to Mars on its own, separate from the level of courage, anywhere related to maybe perhaps anger, because anger tends to also serve as a catalyst, right? To where you decide, okay, I've had enough of this, and now it's time to transcend it. Or some people take it the opposite direction, right? They go lower, even lower sometimes.
Yes, anger can be destructive, or it can be the purpose of anger is to be actually creative and to make change. It depends how it uses, but that's exactly what Mars is. Mars rules anger and courage.
And we'll look at the positions that we read of the frequencies of different zodiac signs in Mars.
Yeah.
And that actually will come up, right?
Yes, actually changes. Just to let everyone know, when you cover after that Mars and signs, you'll see how in different signs, Mars can lower its vibration or raise them. It's fascinating.
Yes. Venus. So Venus's frequency is 55, which is apathy and manipulation again.
That was the big surprise for me. And I've been thinking about it. And I believe that currently humanity expresses, because Venus rules how human love, the relationships. And I guess relationships are a bit, we're quite manipulative still, that currently through how Venus expresses. And I guess we're still using vibration relationships in a more manipulative way collectively. I can't explain it in any other way, but Venus rules seduction. And Venus rules how you can make someone agree with something you want as well, in a gentle way, not in a violent way.
So being seductively manipulative.
Yes.
You know what I just thought about? One of the ways it could be expressed right now, I think it's at all-time high for the last couple of years, is social media. An example comes to mind is Instagram, and how a lot of times that comes through clearly on social media, the manipulation of the seduction.
Right. True.
Yes.
Yeah, and Venus rules images and how you look and how you make yourself beautiful. Venus is the external beauty type of thing. And the material desires towards money. Venus rules money. Venus rules everything material, luxurious, and all kind of pleasures, indulgences, but of the physical. So, for example, to drink wine is Venus. For example, to date and flirt is Venus. It's not the higher love. To love unconditionally is another planet. In astrology is Neptune. We'll cover it after that. Venus is the one, how you get what you want seductively, and how you basically immerse yourself in the senses, so to speak, and how you receive also the material and enjoyable things of life. For example, a good car or more money and so on. I don't know if I'm explaining myself, if I'm confusing more.
Yes.
Makes sense.
No. Very well. And I would say perhaps the positions or the planets at the moment that we're measuring also have their own cycles, karmic cycles, that are also influencing the collective of what we're moving through as a collective.
So they change probably as well, don't they?
They change as well. And I think it would be interesting for us to measure how a cycle was different. Like, how often do the cycles change?
Yeah.
Is it every 12,000 years or?
Yeah, well, actually, Venus has a cycle that changes every 19 months. And the ancient, they said she behaves her energy is very different of different cycles. Sometimes they describe it as very manipulative, and they call her sometimes they call her 4 different names in her 4 different phases. Venus. And actually it takes about a year and a half to pass those phases. And in some phases, she's super manipulative. In others, she's super loving and giving and artistic. In others, she's all about the sex, like a nymphomaniac. In one other, she has very dark phases. So maybe you measured her in one of her dark phases.
This will be interesting, actually, I think, to also look at a bigger picture, not just 19 months or a year, but maybe the big cycles as the humanity is going through, right? There's, I think, how many thousands of years.
Well, Earth's one is 24,000 years, a Platonic year.
So maybe this is what we need to look into, what's happening collectively and planetarily. This will be an interesting project, I think, for us to explore further.
Wow, awesome.
I feel it more than likely, I feel that it begins on the planetary level, and then that impacts the human collective, right? It's not that we are changing the planetary position or
and they,
right? But
that's what
it's the opposite.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Do you feel that's the case?
That's what astrology says, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what it seems like.
Jupiter, 400, the level of reason, intellect.
Analytical mind.
Analytical mind.
Oh, Jupiter in astrology rules academics, rules higher education, rules expanding consciousness as well. And it does rule, it rules sciences and religion as well. So I guess this is the vibration, but it sounds very correct. Reason and
yes, and 400
consciousness. Jupiter rules the higher mind, the mind that is interested in philosophy, in big questions in life. Why are we here? And as you said, 400 vibrates is the big scientists, philosophers, the high intellect, isn't it? That's all correct. Absolutely.
Yes, like the thinking mind, or
yes. Einstein was in that frequency. Albert Einstein in the frequencies of 400.
There you go. And that's very Jupiterian.
There you go.
Absolutely. Jupiter is no surprises here.
Yes. Okay. Saturn, frequency of 250, which is neutrality. And, we've had a question a couple of times. People will ask us, what does that mean, a frequency of neutrality? So we see it from different angles now. Of course, it's a place where you can just feel comfortable with where you're at, but it can also become a place of complacency. Another way to look into neutrality frequencies is it's a place of recalibration. So I don't know what Saturn stands for.
Okay, Saturn in astrology is known as the great and malefic, and it's where you can get stuck with that energy because you feel safe and you don't want to change. But also, once Saturn is where you can receive a lot of, because something you're not changing it and you're not progressing, where you can receive pain there. And many times Saturn delays things, whatever it's in your horoscope, and it makes it harder. But they say, astrology says that you need to become, because it hurts a lot if where Saturn is, you need to become neutral towards that area in life. You should not feel pain there because it is what it is, and you should accept things they are, and that's the only way to overcome a difficult Saturn position. You become neutral, you accept how things are, and from then on, things can shift. But if you resist or if you're negative about it, it stays stuck. If you become neutral, then you start making a change in that painful position. So maybe that's how it's connected somehow.
Totally makes sense. Yes.
And good to hear that, because I've seen transits of Saturn or influences, which are temporary in your horoscope, to be, yes, they can be painful, but they're just hard work. You have to work hard, and Saturn gives good results. And you have not to, you should not kind of, because you can, when you have to work hard, you can become like negative, tired, or complain a lot. But if you take it, if you have a goal and you know why you're doing it, Saturn gives very constructive results. And because it's above 200, it's already in a positive vibration. So I think especially that Saturn, they say it gives a lot of wisdom. It's the wise man. In a sense, wisdom through experience, by trial and error, learning the hard way. And then you become wise. And the highest vibration of Saturn is acceptance and neutrality, what you said. So I think even vibrationally it resonates to that.
Completely. Wow. Amazing. Thank you for making bringing clarity and confirmation to what we've been measuring.
Venus still baffles me. But,
Uranus vibrates at the frequency of 310, which is the level of willingness.
Wow, that's because wherever Uranus goes in your horoscope or transits or affects temporarily, this is where you get excited for new things. Is that what willingness is? Till then, maybe you if the situation was always the same, when Uranus passes, it makes you excited to try something new. What is willingness exactly? Is it something like that?
Exactly what you just described.
You're willing and open to explore, right?
And right before, as you said,
further.
the frequency is 250 right before that, which is the frequency of neutrality.
Oh, okay. So and Saturn is before, and Uranus is the next planet.
Yes.
This is interesting.
Amazing.
Oh.
Mercury, frequency is 350. So 350 is the frequency of acceptance, which is accepting yourself, accepting others, accepting your past experiences, where you've been and where you are at the moment.
Well, Mercury in astrology is it's neither female nor male planet. It's kind of, it goes wherever. Mercury's influences to, and they say Mercury is the messenger of gods because this is the planet of communications. And I can't connect it with acceptance somehow, but it's the planet through which we communicate with each other, social connection with each other. It's very much connected. Actually, Mercury is the planet through which we connect with one another as friends and so on, rather than Venus. Venus is more like on the human love spectrum, relationship-wise, sexual more inclination, let's say. Well, Mercury is neutral friendships and relationships between people. So
it makes sense, because actually what you just said is, in order to establish and be able to communicate, you have to be able to accept others for who they are.
Yeah. Oh.
Without manipulation, the 55 frequency. So 350 is truly where you're just appreciating people and accepting them, including yourself.
That's where it begins, because when you accept yourself and recognize your talents and abilities, which gives you confidence, and then you develop more trust in yourself, then you're less judgmental as well, not only towards yourself, but to, how you relate to others is a reflection of how you relate to yourself.
Also,
so then you're
skills as well, acquiring skills that are useful in everyday life. And you mentioned you accepting your own skills and what's capabilities and skills is Mercury.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Amazing.
we're onto something.
I think together we'll figure it out. I was sharing with Lada that sometimes charting unknown territories, it's all about having the courage and the curiosity. And there's so many theories from a scientific perspective. If you look back into what scientists' theories have been, and then it takes a new kind of scientist to take that theory and expand and go with it. Because during stagnation, if no one is curious to explore anything further, nothing new will ever come. And I think this is exactly what we're doing today, and part of actually our work is exploring territories that have not been looked at from this angle. But together with Lada and of course some other people we are exploring, we're looking through all these different angles of how the nature of reality is perceived to better understand who we are.
Absolutely. And you told me today that you're contacted by different scientists, by different investigators and researchers that want to work with you, measuring all different kind of scientific and archaeological sites as well. So I'm looking forward to all the collaboration and work you'll be doing.
Yes. I mean, for us, it's always fascinating because we just did an episode on sacred sites. I know we're deviating from what we're talking about, but Sasha asked us to read sacred sites, and from that list, of course, we read over 20 sites, I believe, and one of them was the Bosnian pyramids, which up until the time of reading, we've never even looked into, we've never heard of it. And then sure enough, a day later, we had a doctor, a scientist who discovered Bosnian pyramids contact us and say, I want to connect with you. And then, of course,
that he's called the Indiana Jones of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Amazing.
Wonderful.
So this is the beauty, is through frequencies, because really frequencies is the language of everything that exists.
Of the universe.
Of the universe.
You measure foods and how they relate to you, because you measured how each food vibrates for me, and you told me stay away from those foods. And I did it for the first time in 15 years. I was able to lose weight. And that was okay. Obviously, my body doesn't like those foods. I didn't know it, but vibrationally it can be measured.
Yes, yes. So we're exploring these territories, and we're inviting people to just stay open. And if they have any suggestions, we're open to those suggestions also, because we're all students of life, and we're all learning from each other. So Neptune. Yeah, the planet Neptune. Neptune's vibrational frequency was 600.
Wow.
Peace.
Peace. Well, Neptune is the planet of saints in astrology, and love. And you said that at peace is what saints vibrate at 600, isn't it? I remember you saying that before.
600, 700, yes, but absolutely.
They start saying from 600, but Neptune also, its low vibration is known as deceit, but its high vibration, it's divine love and divine, basically joy and peace, the state of kind of blissed out state. And sometimes Neptune's transits can feel very confusing, especially for a person that is very materially oriented, who is just, especially who is like outwardly oriented, that wants results, achievement, because Neptune makes you go within. And only more people that are more introspective, they love Neptune energies. They feel like they're in ecstasy when Neptune is transiting. But people who is someone of a CEO of a company, and he feels like he's going crazy. He feels like he's losing his mind. He feels the state is so unusual for them. They feel like I'm unmotivated, I feel confused. While someone who is, I guess, because you see how high vibrations can feel negative for someone who is not ready. But other people feel so blissed out during Neptune transit. And whatever Neptune is in your horoscope is where you can, it's the gate to the divine. That's how it's known. So
that's beautiful.
So beautiful.
Peace. What else? Pluto vibrates at 50.
Pluto is the planet of manipulation and transformation as well, but it was a manipulation.
That makes sense.
To transform others by manipulation, or?
Well, on a high vibration, I've seen Pluto is also abuse, where you can suffer abuse, very dark. It can get, it's known as like where traumas are stored, where abuse happens. And Pluto is where you have to transform those feelings of trauma, because trauma makes you manipulative, it unprocessed trauma. And that's wherever Pluto is in the horoscope, a person always is called to do the most work, especially with a psychologist or someone to help them set it in different perspective, that trauma, so they can transform it, to process those feelings. So it's quite hard planet, actually. So it seems, and also Pluto transits can make you paranoid, can make you feeling quite dark, like going into the darker levels, And a lot of times people say that when they're having Pluto transits, they feel totally blocked or apathetic. And that's the word you use.
Oh.
Perfect. Is apathy.
That's amazing. I love it.
It could be, you think it could be a cleansing phase, or no?
It also says Pluto brings out periods. Pluto bring out all the negativity to the surface, and you feel it and then you release it. But I guess it's a hard planet, but it has a purpose, and it does a lot of really dirty work. It's like the cleaner that brings all stuck feelings that you are subconscious, that you've buried from many traumas and past lifetimes. It brings it to the surface. You suddenly feel this numbness or this pain and these fearful feelings, and then you experience them. And that's just like psychologists, they return you to the past to experience the pain, and then you reframe it and release it. So that's the work of Pluto. And it's very healing work, but hard. It's never easy. So
Earth.
We did Earth. We already said Earth. Now, the
We
other
did. I
thing.
want to say it again. Earth 700.
All right. We also measured the stars.
Oh, yeah.
The star system Deneb. You asked us to measure the Deneb. Deneb.
Maybe do Chiron. Say Chiron as well.
Chiron. Did we do Chiron?
I have Chiron's numbers because Sasha asked
You
me
do?
Chiron. Yes.
Oh, I'm glad you
We
do.
did it with Sasha, remember.
Hold
It's
on.
right there. Right
Where?
here.
Oh, yes.
900.
Chiron, 900.
Wow. What is
Enlightenment. So, what is that?
Chiron in astrology? It's an asteroid. It's not even a planet. It's part. It's part of the asteroid belt. There was a planet there that was burst, between Mars and Saturn, and that planet was apparently the most beautiful, highest vibrational planet was called Tiamat. And
Oh, yes, we have a frequency of it. Okay.
I don't know if it was Tiamat or something else. Sorry.
Nibiru.
Nibiru crashed into it. And
asteroid belt, aka Marduk. No?
No.
Maybe it's
I think it was what you were saying earlier. Was it a Nibiru crashed into?
I think this.
It was there. I forgot what its name was, but it was it was keeping the balance in our solar system, and it had one of the highest vibrations. And Chiron is part of it. And Chiron in astrology symbolizes now the wounded healer. That's where it's where there is wounds that you heal. So it's very healing influence. So I think it makes you enlighten the wounds that you learn how to heal. And it creates healers, alternative healers. It's very strong in the horoscopes of alternative healers.
That makes sense, 900.
Yes. So what is this? So we measured, I remember, asteroid belt. And that was a very interesting read because that was a frequency of 1,000.
Oh my God, the highest.
The highest, well, there's also another high one, the Star of Bethlehem at 1,000.
Oh, wow. I don't even know what the Star of Bethlehem is. I know that.
And then, and then what about this Betelgeuse?
Betelgeuse, it's a planet that is, scientists are saying that it's any moment it's going to transform and explode and become from a red giant become like a white dwarf, which is much more condensed and high vibration and brighter color. So it's in the process of raising its consciousness. They're saying any moment it can happen now, and we'll see that maybe it has happened already because it takes thousands of years for the light to come for us. And they say maybe it has happened already, but it's in the process of transformation.
It probably did because the frequency of that is 13,200.
It's above anything. Come on.
It's very high. It was one of the highest things we've measured.
Wow.
Yes.
Betelgeuse.
Betelgeuse. I know. So and then you asked us to measure Deneb. Deneb and Aldebaran.
Star systems, right?
Is at 9 degrees Gemini currently. If anyone has Aldebaran, it's if you have anything at 9 degree Gemini, basically born around 1st of June, if it's your son, you have Aldebaran. Then what vibration is it?
Aldebaran is at a vibration of 2,000.
Whoa. Again, above human capacity. Is the star of Archangel Michael. It's a very positive star, very protective, very it's a fortunate, it gives fortune, brings a special mission to the person, brings protective forces from the angelic hierarchies. I guess these are entities that have finished their human evolution millions of years ago, type of thing. So they connect.
Amazing.
And Deneb, I want to tell you that
what is that?
Star currently in Pisces, the first 5 degrees of Pisces. So what is it?
3,000.
Wow, another one. You don't even know what to call it there above 1,000. Is it enlightenment? Is it a triple enlightenment?
This is beyond human experience. This is just beyond the human frequencies.
In astrology, the star Deneb is around 4 or 5 degrees Pisces tropically currently, and it's the star called Mother of the Universe, and it's one of the most spiritual stars in astrology, symbolized by an angel with wings as well. And it's Hermes said thousands of years that that's a star that makes people angel-like people. And it's a star that gives spiritual qualities. And Deneb is in the constellation. It's like a bird again with wings. So
Beautiful. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So now we can go into
maybe
Mars.
Not to overpower people, maybe we can do the sun in signs today only.
Let's do that. And if you want, I thought about we can also do charts of some people.
Yeah,
at least
Should we do that?
One candidate.
Should we do that? Maybe compare a chart of the chart that we did frequency-wise, and then you can do astrological chart.
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Let's do that. Who would you like to explore and reveal? We can do Jeffrey Epstein or Russell Brand, or both.
Oh, Jeffrey.
Russell Brand, of course, Russell Brand. Well, we pulled out some of the most fascinating characters.
With the most contrast as well.
Yes.
Okay. I'm pulling out the chart.
Perfect.
Russell Brand.
And we can do, maybe we'll start off, we'll give the frequency numbers for different aspects of this person's life, and then you'll cover it from your angle of astrology.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect.
And next time we can do the sun in signs and maybe Venus in signs, because they're fascinating.
Yes, absolutely. So Russell Brand for us was one of probably the most inspiring people that we've read, because this is an amazing example of what is truly possible.
Mm-hmm.
So we look at so many different points. We look at how a person incarnates, and in his case, he incarnated. So at the moment of conception, his soul decided to enter this earth plane at the frequency of 200, which is courage. And at birth, his frequency dropped due to whatever his mom was experiencing, and the frequency dropped to 30, which is guilt. So he was born with one of the biggest drops that we've seen as far as from 200 to 30. But here's the beauty of what is truly possible for a human being. Not only did he transcend his birth frequency of 30 and his incarnation frequency of 200, his overall frequency today is 500, which is love.
Did you go through the hero's journey that you jump from 30?
He is just remarkable. And like truly, for anyone who has ever felt like you're on the wrong path, you're doing the wrong things, just know that if you choose to embody light, anything is possible. And he's one of those remarkable examples of what is possible for a human being.
Yes, to embody fully that which you already are, right?
Wow.
Yeah, so he viewed health, so he views health through the lens of reason, 400. Finances, he views through the lens of neutrality, 250. Creativity. So I always say creativity is inspiration in action. And for him, it's a lens of 540, joy. So he enjoys being creative, and I think it's well translated into his work. Relationships, he views through the lens of 400. So he uses analytical approach to make decisions in establishing relationships. His commitment to personal growth is what we call his guiding light, because it's a frequency of 850. So he's fully committed to personal growth at a frequency of enlightenment. 850 is enlightenment. And we believe this is the reason that he's been able to transcend all these lower frequencies throughout his life. Philanthropy, he views philanthropy, philanthropy is the art of sharing and giving. And in Russell Brand's case, it's a frequency of love, 500. His intuition is at the frequency of 540, which is a frequency of joy. So he trusts his intuitive guidance. And now Alejandro will go into percentages from 0 to 100%.
Yes. In the joy, as of how much he's enjoying the role that he's playing in this lifetime as Russell Brand is at 99%. That's amazing. one of the highest numbers we've read so far. In the ego, how much he's paying attention to the ego, 68%.
That's quite
Awesome.
good.
It is well, way below average, yes. That means he's learned to tango with his ego, right? And detach from his thoughts, his history. And that has helped him also to transcend the low frequencies, right? Paying in the now, how much time he spends in the present moment, 98%. And detaching from the ego helps you to remain in the present moment more often for longer periods of time, you know, because you're not being distracted by your past experiences or your thoughts. In integrity, he is at 85%. I'm sure this was way lower many years ago when he was, experiencing moments of chaos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to figure things out. So it's been increasing for sure. Self-awareness, 98%. So he's very self-aware of his outer world and his inner world, right? Clarity, 100%. So he's very clear about his mission and the path he's on. Alignment with divine purpose, and we compare this to self-realization, is at 100%. So he's full alignment with his divine purpose, the divine role that he's playing in this reality. Alignment with his personal purpose is at 100% as well. So without a doubt, he has the sense of fulfillment, right? Yeah. And this is in relation to, we compare this to self-actualization, right? Compassion, he is at 94%. So he's a very compassionate person. He can relay to other people from a heart to heart level, right? Energy purity is at 100%. So energy purity is a great indicator that tells you how ready you are to experience a higher level of consciousness, right?
So maybe
he's
from love into joy now. And that's
exactly.
A lot of people don't change their vibration, or some fall down. So that it's incredible what he has achieved.
Yeah, without a doubt, amazing.
I will say, if you're listening, Russell Brand, you've been an inspiration, and I hope that these numbers also inspire you and make you appreciate your journey even more, because this is really remarkable.
I'm sure he feels it. He is aware of it, without a doubt. By looking at the numbers, we could tell that. But it's nice to receive some sort of confirmation, right? So and then you can match it with the numbers.
That's right.
Right? So there's definitely no room for doubt of how much he was able to accomplish. You know?
It's incredible. And he's very spiritual, and I can share his chart now. So
yes, please.
This is his chart astrologically, and his story is that he became MTV host or something, but he was very badly into heroin, and he was very addicted for many years, and that's why you measured maybe his vibration was 70 and probably dropped to 30 and lower at certain part of his life while he was addicted to heroin. And then he decided to clean himself off. And ever since, he's been on a spiritual journey, working more and more on himself to improve himself. He's a journalist now, and he calls out on the ridiculousness of many also news and the ridiculousness of many public figures. He's very inspirational because he's commenting, and he's a comedian, of course, but he's commenting on the current life events with, I would say, with a very high perspective and unbiased eye compared to the news people that, of course, they serve someone's agenda. And his astrology shows it beautifully because that he has, first of all, great desire for self-growth. This is indicated, self-growth is indicated by the ninth house. The ninth house is to want to grow, to expand, to regional ideal image. And it's not shown here in this chart because I'm using traditional one. I can show it in another chart, but the ruler of this whole horoscope is Uranus, because he's Aquarius rising and it's in the 9th house. When you have the ruler of the first in the 9th, this is you striving towards God, you striving towards self-improvement, self-growth, higher wisdom and knowledge. So it's beautifully showed, like, because you said he had very high self-growth points as well. And then you can see that he has Venus and Saturn in the 6th house. And Saturn is the other ruler of the 1st house. So it's again him represented. And 6th house is the house of addiction. On the lower scale is the house of addiction, crime, and all kind of unsavory things. So he was, basically he put his body, because the ruler of the 1st house is his body, in a circumstance of abuse, in a circumstance of addiction. And Venus is also there, which is relationships. And he was known to have quite relationships with quite women of, he was a sex addict, an addiction, sex addiction he had as well. So that's indicated by Venus in the 6th. But after he transformed, you see how the 6th house can be one of the really low things in life, but 6th house has a higher vibration. So that's what's very hard in astrology to see. Is he using the low vibration of the 6th house, or is he using the higher vibration of the 6th house? Which your vibrational revelations, they come in and they show you're currently at this vibration. So if I hear someone is below 200, I would say maybe they're in the more difficult manifestation of the 6th house. Above 200, they're going towards the easier and positive manifestation of the 6th house, which is service. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's helping now a lot of people with addictions, with problems. He's giving service to the world and doing work of meaning. 6th house also rules the work of as well. So he's transformed that to so much higher vibration. He's really doing, but you see how in one lifetime you can manifest the lower and the higher. So I want this to be like as inspiration to people, that they don't think, oh, my chart sucks, I'll never be happy in love, or I'll always have health problems. No, this person transcended it. This person overcame, by working on himself, the lower aspect of his horoscope, and he manifested the higher ones. And of course, he has 2 planets in the 5th house, creativity. He's highly creative. And his performer is the 5th house, is the house of performance. His sun is on the star Aldebaran that we talked on. So he has very close to Aldebaran. He has Archangel Michael vibrations there, which is, he's supported, let's say, by higher vibrations. And he has many planets in the 3rd house of journalism. And the 3rd house also rules courage. And it's interesting that he was incarnated at the vibration of courage. And this person has a lot of courage. So, yeah, I can talk for hours on this chart, but just very quickly, I wanted to show to people how it aligns so beautifully, how you can see, that's what I love about your work, how I think is like the missing part of astrology. That part. If I could look at the chart and measure someone's vibrations at the same time.
I remember you mentioned this before.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Coincides
and also showing what's possible, that we're not limited. And the same thing we always say with the numbers, that just because you incarnate at a certain frequency and you're born at a certain frequency does not mean that you are limited to just be in that box, that there is no box. And actually, Russell is an example that the box never exists.
Yes.
Anything is possible. And this is the part that I believe what you just shared with astrology, that there is 2 sides to each coin. Either you can live it out in this way, if this is what you believe, or if you have this higher calling and you believe in something greater, you know that you can transcend and shift out of any of it and live the highest calling.
1st house rules the whore and the saint. At lower level is the prostitution, even 6th house. At higher level is the house of Mother Teresa, such figures that give to humanity service. So this is and this is what I love about your work, that you give hope to people that you're not stuck and you can change. And that's why my life started changing so much after meeting you, because I see it's possible. Because when you have a stuck mentality that it is what it is and nothing will change, you underperform and it's you don't change basically.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in that work helping people change. So thank you so much.
Yes.
The inspirations that God has blessed you with, and the great work you're doing. And I know that you get a lot of attacks as well from people on what you do. That's why we always pray when we start doing videos, because it's hard for some people to accept that. Some people don't like a mirror in front of themselves. Some people get hurt when you do revelations about favorite teachers of theirs. And actually Alejandro and Elena have a group where they with subscription, where they do every week. They have many episodes. I think you have 40 now or something. And each episode covers
43 or something.
Yeah, famous people, teachers, musicians, artists, couples. You've even done couples, Harry and Meghan. I'm not gonna reveal, but they can watch, and you can subscribe at Elena and Alejandro's to follow their vibrational revelations. And if you're a member of the group, you can even ask for celebrities or people that they'll keep in mind and they can do for you. And they're amazing community. They're very together, and I'm also in the community. I follow all the new vibrational revelations. You can also have a personal reading if you're interested in your vibrations, and I'll put links there if you're curious as well. So
Thank you. I would say we have a very beautiful community, and because of our community, we have a lot of love in our community. I don't know if you've noticed that. A lot of people are just so wonderful. It's given us, over the last year and a half, during this whole transition that we're going as a collective, it's brought us so much joy, peace, meaning, more meaning into our life, and just enriched our life in such a beautiful way. Mm-hmm. And I would say we attribute it to people that are our members, because we're all part of the same system, and everyone is truly excited about learning, exploring. And then we have Q&A after each session where we're live and people are going on cameras and asking us questions, and we love that. It makes it's almost like we're opening doors to our home, and people see and are able to release any kind of judgment, because it makes people feel safe, understood, and also appreciate
and heard. Yes.
And heard, and appreciate all the frequencies, everything that is really part of the human condition and human experience.
If anything I've learned from watching those first, I would say, I knew this is a shadow player. But something started transforming. You would always say no judgment, and you say, and you explain, this comes through trauma. No one does this shadow play because they are intrinsically evil soul. And I started actually feeling more compassion towards them and thinking, wow, what did you go through to have this pain? You know, especially if you vibrate at 50, 30, you say these are feelings of despair, suicidal thoughts as well. It's not easy being a shadow player. It's like, it's almost like they're doing the sacrifice to being
right. Especially
dark feeling. Yeah.
Especially when one incarnates at a frequency of someone that is here to play a role in the light, right? They incarnated, like in the case of Russell Brand, he incarnated at the frequency of 200, but experienced some dark times, shadow, shadow times. Yes. Yeah.
And then, of course, we do explore shadow players. We call them the Oscar nominees, because shadow players serve a purpose. Not the ones that incarnate into the light and drop due to trauma, but they're those that actually come in as pure shadows to create enough contrast for the human experience too. So it's really about understanding the intricate tapestry of what makes our not just human experience, but what is really happening from a bigger perspective, the divine perspective.
It's almost like God assigns roles. Okay, you're gonna
yes.
But you can, if you are a soul that is already working towards evolutions, like, can God choose me next time? I've been working my ass off to get to 400, and he says, oh, you have 50 next lifetime. do a few genocides or something. I believe the soul kind of also has a conscious choice, like, oh, I'm consciously, and the ones that you say they're born into shadow, they actually enjoy their role. That's what we saw. They're really getting a kick out of it.
Yes.
Exactly.
And they purposefully align. Some of them, they say they choose, I'm gonna do this, you know.
Yes, that's what we feel based on what we've done, of the work we've done, we've been doing, and we're doing, and all the patterns that we have identified. That we, before we incarnate, we decide what frequencies we want to experience in this lifetime, right? This reality, and then as we gain more awareness, then we decide where, how, with whom we want to experience these frequencies with, you know?
Yeah, that's, and there is no,
Yes.
but can we hate a little bit the shadow players? Are we allowed?
You know what I will say? I will say this one thing. It actually is nice to take things as is, because when you're wanting to hate, you're actually creating that hate for yourself. So it's nice to just accept things as they are. And if you're choosing to play in the light, good for you. It's an actual invitation for you to stand fully in your light, because know that shadows are fully aligned to their shadow role. So I would say pay less attention to the shadows and focus on your own being, your own growth, and where you want to be and where you are at the moment.
Beautiful. Maybe it would be interesting one time to take one soul or one human, say their measurements, and then check their previous lifetime. We don't know who they were, but if there was again a shadow player, or if they were maybe a light player, maybe that would be interesting if one can switch from light to dark, or whether you see a consistency of roles with someone.
Is there a way to check, for example, with astrology, where you can check what they were in the past life?
You can see things about past lifetimes. Definitely.
Can you see if they, for example, were in the shadows?
There is ways to see, but again, it's very hard to judge whether they worked against the shadow, because you can see that someone had a very dark or difficult past lifetime, but they might have been working against the darkness, so it will show again as the same planet. So I think that you need to see the vibration actually to see. There are certain things you can see that there is darkness, you know.
Maybe we can find some cases where people have been through.
Maybe we can take a famous like dictator or
lifetime,
right?
Or lifetime past life regressions, you know.
Yeah.
But it should be like a famous person we can share publicly.
Right, a
too,
famous
right?
person, and then if we know what their name was in a previous lifetime.
Yeah, well, how would we know?
I mean, we don't have to.
Yeah, it could be many different.
Because there are some cases
of people knowing that.
People knowing that, right?
I
Going
know
back
that
in
some
time.
psychics have said about the previous lifetimes of Hitler, and they said he was Nero of Rome.
And what is that?
Hitler was previous incarnation Nero, the emperor Nero of Rome.
Oh, we would have to measure that to be able to confirm.
That we can check that. That will be a good starting point.
Because he incarnated at a very low frequency and he played out a shadow role fully, 100% in alignment and enjoying his role. So it will be interesting to see if that's what people believe he was, to check the frequency, if he actually entered at that, if that frequency was the same.
Yeah, or if you might be a light player in a past lifetime and then a shadow, which will be so discouraging. But I believe that there is some kind of progression instead of and
I feel that too. Yes.
Randomly, I'll be the body this time.
Right, I feel that too. There has to be. It makes more sense, but who knows? At the end, we don't have enough data to confirm. You know,
we're exploring.
People know that you change. You know, you change sex. One lifetime you're a female, other time you're a male, or you can stay as a male for a few consecutive lifetimes. But the frequency could be the same, even if you are playing a role with, you know, as a female, your frequency could remain the same or could be increasing gradually, right? Based on your experience, or remain stagnant. If you are playing a role in the darkness, on the shadows, incarnated at 50, you were born at 50, and then your overall frequency is 50, and until the end, then perhaps the next lifetime you continue and see, right? Presented with other scenarios and see if you are able to transcend it or not. And until that happens, you will probably remain at 50, wow. I feel. I mean, that sounds only fair, right?
Yeah. What's the purpose otherwise?
Exactly.
No evolution.
Right.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you.
Beautiful people.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you again and to check planets, Sun in signs, Mars in signs, Venus in signs. People will be very surprised. We've discovered a pattern that will show you, and you are all looking in our eyes, we're like, whoa, why is that? Do you see it? It's fascinating. Come join us next time with Elena and Alejandro. Check out their Vibrational Revelations group on their website. I'll put link below. And big thanks. Have a great week.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.